Happy Monday, friends! This week we're in Yosemite, and although I've shared numerous adventures in this magnificent national park, today I'm excited to explore a spot with you that I've never shared before. So join me as we head out on the trail to Wapama Falls along the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir. If you're new here to Flying Dawn Marie, as a travel blogger, I take you on adventures every Monday. I share full detailed blog posts on my website, flyingdawnmarie.com, and my YouTube videos bring you along for a virtual visit. So make sure to turn on notifications, like and subscribe, and let's explore together. The Hetch Hetchy area is located at the northwest corner of Yosemite National Park, and it can be accessed via Highway 120 near the town of Groveland. Interestingly, the road leading here is one of the only park spots that is not open 24 hours a day. In fact, Hetch Hetchy Road is only open during specific daylight hours depending on the season, so make sure to check the NPS website for the most up-to-date information before you visit, because you have to enter a gate which locks during the evening and you don't want to get locked inside or outside of the park on your visit. After passing through the unlocked gate and paying the park entrance fee or showing your National Park Pass at the entrance station, you head up a winding road which leads to the main Hetch Hetchy trailheads and parking area. There's ample parking near the giant O'Shaughnessy Dam. Although we'll be crossing over the dam on our way to see some spectacular waterfall views today, many folks just come here to see the impressive structure and soak in the sights from on top of the dam. Although the massive granite formations jutting out of the water here are beautiful, this landscape before us was drastically altered only a century ago. In fact, 2023 marks the 100-year anniversary of the dam we're standing on. Prior to that, this valley was often considered to rival the majesty of the famous Yosemite Valley, which is located just 30 miles south of here. The Hetch Hetchy area has been at the center of controversy for centuries. In fact, since the 1850s, this valley was a prime target for water companies and the city of San Francisco to dam and develop for water storage. Now, despite heavy opposition from environmental groups and naturalists such as John Muir and the Sierra Club, President Woodrow Wilson and the U.S. Congress passed an act in 1913 allowing this pristine valley to be permanently flooded for the purpose of water and power supply for the growing California population. Named for Chief Engineer Michael Maurice O'Shaughnessy, the first phase of the dam was completed in 1923, but a century later this place still stirs up strong emotions for many. In fact, the Restore Hetch Hetchy initiative continues its works today in hopes of one day restoring Yosemite Valley's long-lost twin to its natural splendor. It would be, if completed, one of the most ambitious restoration projects in modern human history, though it certainly remains to be seen if this will ever be accomplished here in Yosemite. This dam stands over 430 feet high and spans over 900 feet. And there are multiple interpretive panels and historic plaques that you can take time to read to learn more about the history of this area, the renewable energy, and the history of San Francisco's water from this spot. It really is fascinating to watch the water flow here from atop of the dam, including the beautiful rainbows formed in the mist. Once you've had your fill of the sights and sounds from the dam, we cross over it to continue our journey today. This takes us to a fascinating tunnel which we'll walk through. Be aware there'll be lots of wet spots and puddles, especially during the spring as you head through this historic tunnel. Crossing the dam, we head through a 500-foot tunnel which was built during the construction. On our way to the Wapama Falls footbridges, the real hiking begins. Past the tunnel, following a former service road before we begin a short and steep climb. Years ago, the view here looked out on a lush, thriving meadow and the meandering Tuolumne River winding through the valley floor. If you have a chance, look up the old historic photos to see the striking beauty that was here before it was permanently flooded with over 300 feet of water due to the reservoir. While many consider the highlight of this area to be Wapama Falls, also, you'll see the famous Kolana Rock soaring over the right edge of the reservoir. In fact, in 1909, John Muir wrote about this beautiful piece of granite, calling it the most strikingly picturesque rock in the Hetch Hetchy Valley. As you enjoy this Yosemite Wilderness Trail, make sure to read the NPS signs with information about the local black bears, possible rock slides, or fallen trees along the path. And the Hetch Hetchy name here actually comes from a Sierra Miwok word for a type of wildgrass. The southern Sierra Miwok are one of the native tribes here, which predate the national park by many centuries, and archaeological evidence has been found showing that native tribes lived in Yosemite Valley thousands of years ago. This trail is just over 2.5 miles one way, making it over 5 miles out and back along the brink of the reservoir. Now, when the flow is peaking during spring, water often flows over the footbridges to Wapama Falls, so be prepared to get wet. And also in visiting in the spring, you pass a few smaller waterfalls and you see the beautiful wildflowers blooming alongside the trail. The trail here becomes a mix of rocky, dirt, and uneven gravel paths, so proper footwear is incredibly important as you hike. And soon you'll come across your first stream crossings. This is just a taste of the wet shoes that you'll have coming on this hike. You also get great views of the dam in the distance as you continue to climb in elevation here. Soon you'll come across your first waterfall crossing. Now, this is an unnamed seasonal waterfall here, but in spring it's beautifully flowing. As you continue hiking along the path, there is minimal shade, and soon you reach a fork in the road. The signs are easy to follow, and as you stick to the right side of the path, you're just over 1.5 miles from Wapama Falls. Views across the reservoir towards Kolana Rock and Hetch Hetchy Dome continue to grow as the path dips in and out of the oak trees here, and keep a watchful eye out for poison oak, which can encroach onto the trail in this area. There's even an area here referred to as Poison Oak Alley, so remember, leaves of 3, leave it be. Hetch Hetchy shares a similar elevation to Yosemite Valley, but it's almost always slightly warmer here, and much of the hike we're taking today is exposed to the south-facing slope and more heat. Since Hetch Hetchy's gate doesn't open until after sunrise, you don't get the option of an early morning start to beat the heat, so I might recommend visiting during the spring or later in the fall to beat the often brutal summer heat here. As we continue on our journey, more wildflowers blanket the path, and if you look up on the high peaks, you can still see snow from the incredible snowpack Yosemite's received this year. As the trail continues, you get a great view of our next waterfall, and you reach a series of pools fed fed by Tui Lala Falls. These falls often run from late winter into late spring, depending on the snowpack, and it's lovely to see when the water is flowing here. May and June are often great months to see this waterfall flowing, and because it's seasonal, it can become barely a trickle often by the autumn months. Anywhere else, Tui Lala Fall would be a main attraction as it crashes down over 800 feet. And you get great up-close views here, but since it's less than half a mile from the incredible Wapama Falls, this is just a quick stop on our journey today. As you pass this waterfall, you also cross a wooden boardwalk bridge, and in this area you get great views of the waterfall above. I also might consider grabbing out my hiking poles after this section. It's where the terrain becomes much more jagged and rugged with a lot of fallen rocks surrounding you, but it's beautiful to look out at the Hetch Hetchy Reservoir. This is also the area where you start some stream crossings, and there is no chance of keeping your feet dry in the spring when the water is really flowing here. Now we start making our final descent down to Wapama Falls, which spills out just to the west of Hetch Hetchy Dome. And this impressive waterfall crashes down well over 1,000 feet, and in the spring you can hear and feel the spray from far away on the trail. During the spring months, with the snow melt, the closer you get to the base of the falls, the harder it is to stay dry. The mist really starts to spray on you here, and the rocks stay slick and wet the entire trek down to the base of the waterfall. Something that really sets this trail apart from some of the park's other famous waterfalls like Yosemite Falls or Nevada Fall is how close you can get to the bottom of the falls on this hike. However, during peak runoff, the waterfall flow may be extremely dangerous as the water rushes spraying directly across the bridge. So please remember to always adventure within your own skill and safety limit. Along with remembering all the leave no trace principles here, please follow any of the warnings that the Park Service has posted. And if the water is flowing over the bridge and it doesn't look or feel safe, don't risk it. In fact, on occasion, the water flow is so strong here that the trail is completely shut down at this point due to unsafe conditions. So always check the NPS website for the most up-to-date information. If you can safely cross the first bridge during your visit, then consider continuing on to the series of bridges that follow. Beyond, each bridge offers a different and unique experience and viewpoint of this waterfall. In the spring, it's incredible to not only feel the mist spraying on you, but to hear this waterfall. The sound is so loud, it's almost deafening. If you're planning a visit here when the waterfall is at its fullest during the spring season, there's something very important to be aware of, and I experienced this firsthand on my most recent trip. As I crossed the bridges in the morning while the sun was still low, the water was flowing heavy, but as I returned after lunch when the sun was high and we were really feeling that midday heat, Wapama Falls had gone from misting over the footbridges to pouring and spraying with great intensity. Now, because I'm familiar with the area and because I had a chance to chat with a ranger on the trail, I felt very comfortable crossing, but it's just another reason to plan ahead, know your ability and the environment, because you could hike across in the morning safely, and then the waterfall has the potential to really grow and expand throughout the day. If you do plan on crossing the footbridges during the spring, prepare to get drenched. But this 5-mile Wapama Falls hike is a wonderful Yosemite adventure and a perfect day hike I would recommend for anyone who wants to get out and explore. Thank you so much for joining me this week in Yosemite National Park. And for more information on this Hetch Hetchy area, see my full blog post at flyingdawnmarie.com, where I also have an entire Yosemite section with over 24 dedicated Yosemite posts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. And until next week, I hope you find adventure and encouragement wherever you go. Bye.